Hi everyone, my name is Kristen and I'm here to do discussion 4C for child growth and development. The first question is, how do you know if you've done something morally wrong? Well, for me, I know if I've done something wrong, I usually feel guilty afterwards. I feel sorry, I want to be honest, and I don't really like the feeling of doing something wrong and having that guilt. I feel, I want to take it away. I want to take back what I did. Sometimes you can say sorry and apologize. Sometimes you can't. So for me, it's just feeling the guilt and the anxiety of doing something. The next question is, how did you learn what was morally right and wrong? Well, I grew up being told what was right and what was wrong, what was acceptable, what was not acceptable, what was good behavior, what was not good behavior, learning manners, how to act, what ways to act in certain situations, where you should act one way, where you should act another way. It's always been instilled in me growing up from my family, my parents, as well as going to school, teachers telling you how you should act in class, not screaming, raising your hand, things like that. And just going on in life, you learn how to act throughout your livelihood. Every day, I think you learn something new. So when it comes time for the next question of how can you teach young children morals, you just go off by what you know. I also found a website from parents.com, an article on there that says 5 values you should teach your child by age of 5, which number 1 is honesty, and says help kids find a way to tell the truth. The best way to encourage truthfulness in your child is to be a truthful person yourself. I 100% agree with that. Your child will take cues from you. So it's important that you try to avoid any kind of deception, even a seemingly innocent one, which I just got off of the website as well. That is a very true quote for that. You are an example to children throughout their school to after that. The children will always look back on what they learned from you, what they seen you do, and you as a parent, a teacher, just as an adult around children, you want to show them how to act because you are their models. And then number 2 is justice. Insist that child make amends. This gives an example of a child and a cousin knocking something down and the child saying, I'm sorry. Today, for example, a child fell into me. He didn't mean to. It was an accident, but he's like, I'm sorry. Because he knew he had hit me and he didn't he wanted to make amends. He wanted to tell me he was sorry and know that it was an accident. Value 3 is determination. Encourage them to take on a challenge. Making sure that they are challenged and determined to do things on their own. An example from here is that wasn't a good example. Demonstration is a value that you can encourage from a very young age. The easiest way to do so is by avoiding excessive praise and by providing children with honest feedback. I guess that's true as well. You always want to give them the best feedback you can. And number 4 is value. Value number 4 is consideration. Teach them to think about others' feelings. If you don't want it done to you, don't do it to the next person. You always want to be considerate of others and their feelings. Like I said, if that's not something that you'd want to have done to you, don't do it to the next person. And lastly, value number 5 is love. Be generous with your affection. Parents tend to think that children are naturally loving and generous with their affection. This is true, but for loving sentiments to last, they need to be reciprocated. It's chilling to realize that over the course of a typical busy day, the phrase, I love you, is probably the one that a child is least likely to hear. I, being a preschool teacher, I hear it all the time, you know, Miss Kristen, I love you. And I'm like, I love you guys too. But, you know, a lot of times those children don't get that at home. So you always want to let them know that they are loved. And the last question is, how does cultural diversity play a role in morals? Every culture is different. Every culture has their own types of morals, as their own way of seeing one thing is one way compared to another one. It could be so simple as one culture may just do a handshake when you're greeting someone, whereas another culture, I know, like, I grew up in an Italian family, and, you know, they do like the whole kiss on the cheek, double kiss, and other people, they may not know that. So it's a different cultures do different things. That's it.